workshops, facilitating meetings, and kind of just having a little bit more fun with work. So yeah, those are kind of professional books that I would recommend to a lot of people.
I'm putting Game Storing into my cart right now. I know we joked a bit about tools and the focus on tools because PMs love tools. I mean, I think most people these days, I mean, whether you have a smartphone or not, I mean, you're into tools. What have been some tools that have been impactful for you? Maybe not necessarily just as a project manager, but just in the work that you do.
I've tried and tested and used a ton of them. I think the one that I always go back to is Team Gantt. I'm not sure if you're familiar, but it's a project planning tool that builds a Gantt chart for you. I like it because it's well designed. It's nice to look at. It's easy to use. I'm the person who always wants a really spelled out kind of line by line, task by task project plan, and it does that. But it also offers communication and time tracking and resourcing, and so I like that one. I'm also a huge fan of Harvest and Harvest Forecast. Harvest is a time tracking tool that is, again, nice to look at, easy to use, provides really amazing reports on project budgets and finances, and also offers invoicing. And then the forecast tool is a resourcing tool that kind of is like building a Gantt chart and assigning hours to staff and figuring out what your staffing plans are going to be.
No, that's great. Yeah, all those are great recommendations. So in your professional career, what would you say is probably the best advice you've ever received?
It's been more recent, to be honest with you, and it's follow happiness. And I love that because if I'm not happy in what I'm doing in work day to day, chances are I'm not going to be happy outside of work because I spend so much time working.
Right.
So I'm really at this point following opportunities in a path that makes me happy and makes me fulfilled in what I'm doing every day. And I think it's a really simple piece of advice that I think anyone could follow no matter what level they're in or where they are in their life.
Thanks to the conference and I'm sure the book, you've been able to interact with a lot of different leaders across not just project management, but all sectors of business. What would you say is the most important characteristic for a leader?
It's empathy. And I think that's what I've been talking about through this whole podcast is it's about understanding people and knowing that you don't know everything about the situation and taking the time to get to know them and understand what makes them tick and not having a judgment on who they are as a person or an employee. So to me, that's really important. And again, it's not just something that applies to business. It applies in life in general.
Couldn't agree more. First, I want to thank you for coming on. I really enjoyed the conversation.
Me too. Thank you for having me.
The book, Project Management for Humans, and the work that you're doing with Digital Project Management Summit is important work. I'm happy to be able to get out there and preach the word about all those great things that you and the rest of the team are doing. I think it's really great work.
I really appreciate that. Thank you.
I want to thank Brett for sharing his perspective on project management. And if you want to learn more about his book and the work he's doing, check out everydaydpm.com and brettharned.com. As I mentioned at the top of the show, we now have a Facebook page over at facebook.com/Schmidt-List. Check it out. And don't forget to subscribe and tell others about the podcast. Thanks for listening and have a fantastic week.